Hello, Core 3 Beauties. This is Marcos, and this is our week 3 going to week 4 recap briefing video for our Core 3 Topics class at the wonderful Parsons School of Design. We are moving forward nicely into the semester, and I want to go over with you our next steps as we continue to develop our physical projects, physical form projects built on the theme of beauty and the beauty of making. So for this coming week, we are going to be continuing to create our designs. We all had, each of you had a great set of reviews one by one over the course of the 2 days last week. And everyone is off to a great start and have incredibly well-developed, thoughtful themes and design concepts that now need to be cultivated into finished spreads that will soon become printed pieces. So your goal now is to work on furthering that development of your project, taking in all the feedback you got and the thinking you've been doing on it, and of course, responding to how things are going as you design your piece, as you continue to work on it. Some of you have content to develop, people to interview, more photographs to take. Many of you have illustrations to make. And in general, you're all working hard to create each piece of your publication, each spread of your physical form, so that it comes together in the best way possible. You're also looking into the paper stock you'll be using and the printing format you'll be using, and researching that, whether it's the design lab or whether it's other printers in the school that's available to you, or whether you have your own printer or whatever else. I do want to make just note that I haven't said yet in class that I do have an Epson P800, I think it's called, that does up to like A2, does a pretty big sheet of paper. And if anyone's having trouble and needs to print, I can, as much as possible, make my office in Dumbo available to print out if anyone gets in a jam. But let's save that for like emergencies, but that's just another little backup plan in case anyone has a problem, just reach out to me. And we're going to meet on Tuesday this coming week as a full class, and we're going to break up into small groups, and you'll share your project and look at projects from 3 other people within your group, the 4-person groups. And at the same time, I'll be there reviewing with each of you each, if not all of you, who want to check in with me on your progress or ask me questions or get feedback. And then on Thursday, we're going to have a quick version. I mean, we'll have a full class, but a quick version review of everyone's in front of the class of where everybody's at with their design, with enough time left for us to, or for me to brief you on getting started on project 2, the digital forms companion piece for this. And if you remember, we made this plan to not have our final critiques on Thursday like all the other savages from the other classes are doing. And instead, we are going to smartly switch the weeks around between week 4 and week 5. So we build an extra time to finish our design, and mostly extra time to print and bind and create, and then reprint and bind if things don't go as planned, so that each of you have enough time without losing your dignity and breaking down in front of a printer, or doing that and still having time to recover. So as you can see here on our schedule, the gray at top is what we finished so far. We're going into week 4. The gold are the dates that used to be in week 5 that are switched to week 4, and the week 4 blue, or the week 5 blue is the final critique that should have been week 4. So we're basically starting our project earlier than everybody else, our second project. We're going to have on week 4 next Thursday after you do your design development review. And then we'll have a half group sessions, half the class meet at the beginning, half the class meet at the end. And if you have a preference on that, do email me in advance, or otherwise I'm going to keep it the same as it was probably. And then on week 5, we'll have that review session, that final critique review, and then we'll keep going from there. Okay, so let's spend a little time. I just want to give you guys another sneak peek. The privilege that we have as a second round of class doing the same assignment was we get to see our ancestors from last year and what they had to say and how they developed the same exact project, and give you a good oops, a good guiding light towards that. No, come on. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Okay, so this is a project we shared last week where I showcased where this student uh, made her deck and produced the kind of assignment that you should be submitting. And this deck includes an introduction, explains her form and content concept, and displays some of the imagery she researched in the beginning of the first week of class, and the text she researched, and then the storyboard. This is all stuff that you guys did last week. And then, like we are this week, she's developing her zine called Metropolis into a full-on 8.5 by 11 zine with, I can't count the pages here, but 32 pages. And now she's gone further and showcasing the fonts and the grid system she's using, expanding further on her cover and back, and then showcasing her table of contents and an opening spread for one of her stories, and mostly spending a lot of time creating these really cool Rizzo-y looking illustrations that have this cool color and feel to them based on architecture and based on her illustration or her photography of the exposed infrastructure in the city that intrigued her, and creating a city out of it. And so these are just a couple of examples. And the reason and here's another one that's actually very cool. So she's working hard on getting these illustrations made, knowing that she's got a full magazine to design, and only being able to get so far because of the amount of time it takes to do this work. So I think this is a modest example of how far along you should be with your design, if not further. And the further you are, of course, the better off you're going to be, because you'll have a week left after this Thursday. And of course, always remember to be grateful. There's our thank you page. And then let's look at another one here. This is a new one that I don't think we reviewed yet from a student. And why isn't it turning? Okay. And this is her deck, and it includes in the beginning her initial collection of the 3x5 city collection. There are 3 concepts, and then her one that she chose with more text, and then the images, the 2550 text image assignment. And then she goes into her storyboard, a nice kind of wonderfully rough set of sketches here, and then begins to show, she has one concept where and in this point, she was still deciding what her format was going to be. And one was a binder photo book, and the other was just more of a magazine. But this is the binder concept, and she uses mock-up images, which are, I'm sure you're aware of them, but they're plentiful, and it'd be a good idea for you guys to showcase that and use that. If you use it, you can get them up from Adobe Stock, which is part of your subscription package from the school. And she made a pagination map, a storyboard of how she wants to lay out her magazine, and then began to make further designs. And this is now her second option, which is like a dust jacket on a book, or on a perfect bound or saddle stitch rather publication. And then she did a bunch of interior spreads that she lays out all here in these cool mock-ups. And then one by one showcases how she's approaching her design develop utilizing this concept of blue, and lyrics from Lana Del Rey, and creating this very cool magazine. And then, oh, I thought there was no thank you, but there it is. The thank you was hidden away. And that's a great example of where you should be as well by Thursday, kind of having a really good sense of what your magazine is going to look like, having a lot of finished spreads, but having more to do because there's more time to work on it. And then here's a third one. This is a new one as well. And this is the Physical Forms Part 2 project. And this is the deck for it. So it's similar to what you're going to be making this week. Has a project overview that lays out what her concept is, reminds us of our prompting on beauty and truthfulness, and revealing what's speaking to you out there. And hers was this idea of looking behind doors. And I showed this piece a couple weeks in the finished piece. And this is her explanation of it. And this is her storyboard, a little bit on the minimal side, I'd say, but she has a color system going here. She wanted to make sure it was understood. And then further, kind of still a little bit not specific enough for me, but okay. And then she has just exploration on the cover and showcasing her photography and looking at typography choices and ways of laying that typography out, and then begins to do example layouts. And this is more on a little more on the rougher side, a little more experimental, showcasing how her color treatment would work and how her typography would be laid out. And on the kind of rougher side, still being experimental about what she wanted to do and getting feedback, using this meeting to get feedback on what direction was best. Having a link here that she went to in the meeting, showing more content she wanted to develop further. And of course, the thank you page. So that's kind of more representing a work in progress version. Maybe it should be a little further than this just to ensure you don't run out of time, but this is a place you can be if you find yourself there. And then here is our last one that we've been following along since the beginning. And this is her physical forms part 2 deck, and utilizing pages from the first 2 decks, showcasing her research and her concept, her text research, as well as her image research, and then showcasing that she wants to do a 10 by 11 wire-bound booklet, showing her storyboards from last week's assignment, and then developing further. She had one of these strip weave sheets, and now she has 2, and she brought both of them into class to show them. And then she kind of switched up her design development a little further and went a little more, changed her typeface to like a courier kind of typewriter face, and got a little more retro with her look, and began to be a little more experimental with how she showcased her imagery and her photographs. And these are actually 2 choices in terms of the kind of text to use. And then just further developed more spreads within that look and feel, and some divider spreads and photo essay spreads. And then of course the thank you page. So that's a pretty nice example of where you should be. Again, if not further, the further along you are, the better off, as then you will be able to get more into the refinements you need to be able to develop your project to the level you want it to be developed at. So, okay, so let's get back into our thing. Okay, so also, while you're doing all that, let's not forget we have a series, a very nerdy but interesting series, as our emoji friend shows us there, of cross-topic videos that we've been watching and discussing each week. And this week we have spatial experience as our topic, with a brand new video on Vimeo, the link which I sent in the last email, and I'll resend it again in the email for this when I launch this to you guys today in a few minutes. And just as we round up here, make sure now that as we're getting busier, that you're not afraid of being in a point where you may be overwhelmed, you may have too much to do. Of course, you have other classes. I know that, and I know that you're making sure that you attend to those, and you're doing great. So you might be feeling the tears, or at least inside. So don't be afraid. It's okay. That's part of the experience. We must suffer in a controlled, dignified way in order to get where we want to be. So let's keep adding to it this week as we push ourselves to do excellent work, and we create this next phase of the project, which is really critical at the highest level possible. We're not afraid to let things go. If there's something that you had in the beginning that needs to be changed, that needs to be revised, or just simply served as a way to get you where you're at now, and it's time to abandon it, don't be afraid of doing that. It's okay to do that. Keep true to what your concepts are, so they're connected. And if your concepts you need to go in your time machine and change your concepts around a little bit, like I was saying in class, I'm not against that for this one. It's not how you would normally do it, but I want the output to be really great, and that's the priority. And you're solving a problem that you made up, or an opportunity that you made up on your own. So switching that around is okay with me for now, but let's make sure we get to the point where we're partying in this glow of love and happiness here at the end. Okay, and remember that we are here to serve a higher purpose, and that beauty and the revelation of that beauty to ourselves and to others is what we're after with this project. All right, guys, so get back to work, and I will see you guys, everyone, on Tuesday for a check-in review with the groups. And this project is due on Tuesday. And did I put it in the wrong place? I didn't say that we have, here's an older one, but, oh no, this is the right one. We have the last week's Canvas is the same. It's a two-part Canvas entry. So at the bottom, here's part one that we did with the link. And at the bottom, you see is part two. And the link is down here for the Google Drive. And there's a new Google Drive, part two, design development. That's on the Google Drive. So make sure you put that, you use that there. And it's a 20-point project. So you've got your 10 points from last week, and this is your 10 points from this week. So keep going. Make sure you keep the A making machine running smoothly, and that you're not making it heat up or rattle around, and do not make it start smoking, because that's when things go badly, when it starts to smoke. But everyone's been doing great, and I so appreciate how hard everyone's been working, and how effective you all are in your communication about what you're doing and how you do it. And I'm looking forward to seeing where you end up with this one more week of work on this project. So let's do it. All right, guys, I'll see you Tuesday, and have a great rest of the weekend and rest of the week. Till then.